For the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, this question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he stand by his statement that Whānau Ora is aimed at, and I quote him, families who need significant support? End of quotes.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I stand by my full statement. That was, quote, in terms of the wider overall issues about Whānau Ora, that's aimed very much at families who need significant support and who are using a multitude of different agencies, and the government is looking at ways to improve the outcomes. Given the successful track record we've had in the past have been totally unsuccessful with those families, I would have thought that trying new ways was not a bad idea.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Supplementary question. Does he believe that just some Maori families should be receiving significant support in the form of thousands and thousands of dollars in grants to develop plans to, and I quote, promote who they are, end of quotes, to, quotes, take control of their lives and move out of the status quo lifestyle, end of quotes, and to, quotes, weave the strands of whānau together with a collective goal of reconnection, end of quotes, and much more psychological babble like that?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know where the member's quoting from, but I can say the overall ethos of Whānau Ora is to support vulnerable families and to try and get them to empower change in their own life.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
How can he reconcile the fact that his government is taxing paper boys earning a pittance while he and the Maori Party are spending over $12 million of taxpayers' money financing projects such as helping a family to, quotes, Whānau Ora, that is, promote who they are, end of quotes?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, you're talking about very vulnerable families who are probably already incurring significant cost to New Zealand taxpayers, and if we don't address some of their issues, all probability is they'll cost New Zealand a lot more.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
So which was the vulnerable family or families that were at the $60,000 Whānau Ora grant to conduct research and hold a community day at a sports club in Otaki? And how did they qualify to be in need of, to quote his words yesterday, significant support?
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Individual cases need to be directed to the Minister of Whānau Ora.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Is he aware that hundreds of Whānau Ora plans that are being prepared at great expense to the taxpayers are plans that actually involve applying for further Whānau Ora funding to implement these very same plans?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can't confirm that, but if the member wants to find out a little more, he should ask questions directly to the Minister of Whānau Ora.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Is the Prime Minister saying, therefore, by that answer, that he doesn't know what's going on with respect to the Minister in charge of Whānau Ora's future plans? And if that is the case, why hasn't he appraised himself of that as every other former Prime Minister would have?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no. I'm saying if the member wants to ask individual questions about specific cases, he should direct them to the Minister of Whānau Ora.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Speaker, I'm asking the Prime Minister as Prime Minister of this country. I don't need to hear references as to who I should ask the question of with respect to a specific minister. I'm asking the Prime Minister, the number one minister in this country, as to whether he agrees with these plans. Now, I can't get his answer from...
Order. 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 The very reason why we have a number of ministers covering a range of portfolios is that they have the detail on those portfolios. I don't think anyone has ever expected the Prime Minister to be able to cover all detail in all portfolio areas, and that's the risk of directing questions to the Prime Minister on other portfolios. The Prime Minister may not have all the detail on those matters, and that's not unreasonable.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston
Speaker,
Peters.
if that is the case, that is the Prime Minister's answer. He doesn't need you to give it with respect... Now, let me finish.
Order. No, I'm not going to listen to any more of this rant. The member will resume his seat. Order. Now, the member will be, if he carries on this, he'll just leave the House. It's his choice, because I'm not going to have that sort of nonsense. If the member wishes to pursue details about a particular portfolio, that's why we have ministers, they can be asked. The Prime Minister cannot be expected to have detailed information in every portfolio area. The Prime Minister said he didn't have that information, and that is a perfectly proper answer for the House. The remedies in the member's hands. If he wishes to pursue that issue, pursue it through questioning the portfolio minister responsible.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, if that was the Prime Minister's answer, he was open to give it, but he is not correct to then say that someone is offending against the House's traditions and its standing orders by asking him and not the minister. Let me give you an example. I asked about the mongrel mob in Dunedin. That minister knew nothing about it and put a full-scale Department of Research into place to find out whether I was right or wrong. Yesterday, the Prime Minister said I was wrong.
Order. We're not
I've got a letter to you.
Order. No, order. We're not going to take more time in the House on this. The member knows full well that governments can transfer questions to the minister, that the order... Now, look, the member is being... the member is normally very respectful of this House. I accept he's grumpy, and grumpy with me. I accept that. And I accept that. But the standing orders... Order, I'm on my feet. The standing orders must apply equally to all members. And all members know that if they question the Prime Minister in certain detailed portfolio areas, the Prime Minister cannot be expected to have all the detailed information in every portfolio area. I don't recollect questions in the House to the Minister responsible for Whānau Ora. I don't recollect. I might have forgotten. Forgive me, I may well have forgotten, but I don't recollect, you know, in recent times... a few years ago. Order. And so I'm not being unfair to the member, but the Prime Minister has answered that way, and that is a perfectly acceptable answer. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, will it be in order then for every question the Prime Minister got to be answered this way? Please refer that question to the Minister who is directly in charge of that portfolio. Will that be in order? Because I'm asking as the Prime Minister, and this happens in every other British democracy that I know of, a English-speaking democracy, where the Prime Minister is required to either answer the question or say he cannot, but he cannot say that the member is acting improperly by not referring it to the Minister. That's why he was made the Prime Minister, for goodness sake.
Order. And if the member got that impression, I apologise to him, because that, I'm sure, was not intended, that the member was not addressing question time properly by not directing the question to the Minister. That should not be implied. What I'm trying to point out to the House is there are some limitations in questioning the Prime Minister over detailed portfolio areas. That's all I'm trying to point out to the House. Members are absolutely at liberty to question the Prime Minister. That's their absolute right. But there are those limitations around what the information the Prime Minister can have at his fingertips. Question number 5, Jacinda Ardern.
Mr.